Alright, y'all boys, we back with another video. So today we are going to be going over one of the newest characters on the JP side. That character is going to be Shoko Iori, I believe her name is, right? So let me see if I can find her real quick. So she is going to be the newest addition to the game. As you already know, we do have a version of her, but she is a, I believe, SR. So basically, we finally have an SSR version, which is good because that means we have better stats. And usually, we're going to be following the same formula with a lot of the characters that do happen to release in this game when they are only SRs in the beginning. They usually tend to, the SSR version usually tends to be very similar, or if not a better version of the SR version, right? So that way they kind of give you an incentive to have a better version of that strongest character. And I think the main reason why they're doing that is because they're trying to filter out the fact that, you know, a lot of the free-to-play characters are very powerful. So they want to start implementing more SSR characters that kind of incentivizes players to actually pull for these characters, right? Obviously, I'm just going to tell you this straight up. She's obviously going to be way better than the base Iori, but there's going to be some certain circumstances where you might use the base Iori, but I feel like they're very, very rare circumstances where you need a lot of heals, but she's going to be nasty. So let's actually talk about what this character actually does, and, you know, then we'll go forward with the showcase. The SSR Iori is basically a support character, and she can heal allies. Not only that, but she can also buff with high multipliers. In addition, her special attack has a 1000% damage multiplier while also buffing the damage dealt and special gauge of all allies, making her kind of like an exceptional support covering all traits and areas, being able to, you know, charge up your ult and, you know, be able to boost damage and even do damage herself is a nice addition to any team that fits in practically almost any scenario. Whether you're using it for the special guards charge or if you're using it for the buff, that's still going to be very viable in a lot of content. I did mention earlier that she, you know, she is going to be like an amazing support. And obviously, she is yellow, and there's another good, amazing support who is also yellow, is the SSR Yaga. And the good thing about it is that they synergize tremendously well together. The fact that you can have Yaga and Shoko in the same team while having, you know, a character like Team Gojo who doesn't leave the fight and he's an absolute powerhouse is just absurd, right? With her and Yaga alone, not even counting Domain Megami, already make the yellow team the strongest team in the entirety of the game. There is no other team that comes close, or even they all pale in comparison to this team, just because you're able to cover so many things while debuffing the enemy, or even buffing, or even, you know, reducing debuffs on your own team, or even healing your own team, even, you know, passively increasing your team's strength. You know, it's just like Shoko Iori is there to stay. She's going to be a tremendous addition to anybody's account because she just does a lot, right? And the fact that you have Yaga to also pair up with her and they don't really clash is just absurd. They're tremendous together, and this just makes the yellow team by far the best. I don't think there's no other team that can come even close, just because you're covering everything from survivability to damage optimization. It's crazy. But yeah. Now, also, just like SSR Yaga though, a majority of her buffs are going to be mainly effective on the yellow team. So again, they're still pushing the mono team narrative. So you're going to be using her in the yellow team 90% of the time. And the times that you're probably going to need you know, a heal, and you probably wouldn't even use this one. You would probably use the blue one, the SR version, because you'll have heals on your ult and you'll have heals on your skill too. But if you're trying to go for extra damage and all that, and you have a yellow character who's your carry, then obviously she's going to be a lot better in that situation. Now, in terms of her skill 3, let's talk about her skill 3. So her skill 3 is, I guess her skill 3 is like a buff, but it's kind of better than SSR Yaga's, because it increases the damage taken, right? So it will increase the selected enemy's damage by 15% for 3 turns, right? Obviously, I don't have it max yet, but, you know, you get the picture. And then on top of that, it will increase all allies taijutsu and jujutsu damage by 62% for 3 turns. Effective for yellow allies. Let that sink in for a sec. It's only costs 20 curse energy. You're debuffing the enemy and you're buffing your team. Obviously for yellow. All in one, in just one skill. This is basically the same thing that Hollow Purple Gojo has, but for the entire team. For the entire team. Is obviously, granted, they're yellow. It's just absurd how good that is. We'll keep moving on, just so you already know this is probably one of her best skills, and that's going to be the one you're using most often, because that buff is insane. Now we have, of course, her special, and you're probably going to be wondering what makes her special so good. Despite me not leveling it up, too much, it's still very powerful, and the reason for that is because the special is literally giga juiced. Okay, so you're gonna deal 1000% melee physical damage to a selected enemy. Who cares? We don't care about that too much. I don't expect her to do like tremendous amounts of damage. It's nice to have a little bit of extra damage, but I don't think it's gonna matter too much from her. But on top of that, she's going to increase all allies damage dealt by 45% for 2 turns. So you're gonna have a damage dealt boost for 2 turns. That is insane. On top of that, she increases all allies' ultimate skill gauge charging rate by 30% for 2 turns. So you just combo with whoever you're trying to carry with, like whoever your carry is with her, and then you already have the ultimate charge rate already active, get ready to go for the following turn, so you can start, charging up immediately. It's this thing is insane. Like you have that her special with her skill 3. Those are insane juices to her, right? Insane juices. So amazing support so far. That, like I mentioned, like I don't doubt this character is going to be like used in a lot of content. This character most definitely will be, but yeah, it's insane. Now we have her skill 2. So her skill 2 is nothing special. It's going to heal 1 ally, and then it's also going to decrease any debuffs on them by 30%. So it's a nice utility skill to have. You won't be really using it too much because her auto skill, which we're going to talk about in a second, is far more effective in healing allies. And then, of course, you're better off using your cursed energy for your skill 3 because the buff is tremendous. Like you don't want to lose out on your buff. You want to make sure that you have 100% uptime on it. Healing means that you're going to lose that one rotation, so you're going to have to restart your rebuffing to be able to get the 3 stacks of buffs. Now her auto skill. So here comes the auto skill. The auto skill is pretty insane. So it's going to be very similar to Yuta. She's going to automatically heal allies when any of them fall below 40% HP. However, she doesn't require curse energy to do it. And then of course, like, yet again, weakens debuffs effects by 30%, and this can be used up to 3 times per battle. So very, very similar to Yuta, but except it's way better, being able to decrease the debuff values. And of course, it's like you don't require any curse energy to do it. You can just do it, which Yuta realistically should just be able to just use it. Fraud Yuta, I'm telling you. Anyways, this is really good because now you have survivability with this character. Like I mentioned, you have your skill 2 for survivability, you have your passive skill for survivability, you have your skill 3 for buffing your entire team while also debuffing the enemy, and then obviously you have your ult to charge ult, and then of course increase your team's damage dealt. It's insane what you can do with this character. This character covers all the points that you want in a support character. Now that I'm done talking about this character, because I feel like I've already ranted long enough, we are just going to go straight into the showcase after showing the team, of course, right? Because I feel like we've already talked long enough about this character. All right, so here we are. We're on the teams. One thing you may notice here is you don't see SSR Yaga. Yes, I am SSR Yaga-less on JP. So we're going to be using the red SR Yaga. Now, obviously, I would love to use the SSR version in this situation because it would be much better and we'd probably get a little bit more higher numbers and everything. But we don't have access to that, so we're going to make do with what we have and get the next closest thing, which is the SR version of him. Now, obviously, we have Domain Megami because he is one of the best kind of setup characters in terms of debuffing and doing like nukes and everything. So here he is. Then we have, of course, Iori, because she's the highlight of the entire video. And then, of course, we have Team Gojo as our mainline DPS, just because he's the best yellow DPS currently in the game. So without further ado, let's get right into the actual showcase for sure this time, because obviously I've been stalling. Let me just show you the skill levels real quick of all my characters. And then my stats. And then let's get right into it. Alright, so we're here on floor 39. So first off, you already know we're going to be using Unity and then skill 3 from Megami, because obviously the less curse energy we have, the more ultimate that we can charge. We're going to be stalling, so we don't want to use any of our skills to, of course, you know, waste our curse energy. We don't want none of that. We're just saving until the perfect moment. So we're going to skill 1. Here, the same thing with Iori. And in the beginning, we're not going to be using any of Gojo's buffs yet. So we can spam skill 3 for the time being. Okay, I mean, whatever. Gojo don't care. Use that again, and then again. Lower the damage that he can do to us. Okay, he buffed himself, it's whatever, we don't really care. Skill 1, skill 1, skill 1, debuff again. Okay, I mean, that's fine. We'll skill 2 because that'll drop our curse energy, so we should be able to get ult next turn. Not that we're going to use it next turn. We'll skill 1 here. We'll skill 1 with the memory. And the same for Gojo. We'll start buffing with him now. With pride. Okay, that's fine. I mean, we don't really care too much. We're not gonna ult yet, so we're just gonna use our skills. Skill 1. Skill 1. Reapply infinite. Okay, that's fine. Now we are going to start doing things. So here we're going to use the ult from Megumi. Then we're going to start buffing with our Yaga. And then Iori can ult here, because I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. Now, obviously, her ult does give damage dealt increase, and then it does charge our ults. But since we're going to go for the nuke, we don't necessarily need the ult charge, because we're going to finish it in one go. So here, necessarily, we don't really need it, because Gojo's about to hit his ult, and the damage dealt is 45%, and we're only going to attack in one singular turn anyways. So instead of the 45% damage dealt, I'd rather just keep the 100% uptime, like the 3 stacks of her skill 3, which will also debuff the enemy while also buffing our team. So I feel like that's a little bit better than using the ult in this situation. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to use skill 3, obviously in the 3 turns of Megumi's ult, rather than using the ult at the final turn. So we're just going to ult here, get that combo going off, and just keep buffing with our Gojo. Hopefully we get the stun. No stun. Okay, so now here we're just going to use skill 1. We're going to buff again. We can use this memory too, because the memory does increase damage dealt for yellows for 3 turns. So obviously we can use it now because we're going to nuke on the final turn anyways. Then we'll buff. We're going to have two buffs of Yaga. Here we'll start using Iori's skill 3, and then we'll keep buffing with Gojo. So this is turn 1 of Shadow Garden. Now this is going to be turn 2. Okay, she's still alive, luckily. And then we'll have the last debuff here of, you know, inside Shadow Garden. We'll have the last debuff. Then we'll have the last buff from Yaga here. Then we'll have the memory back up from, you know, whatever it's called. Best friends or whatever, high five or whatever. I don't fucking remember. With the skill 3, so that'll be the final buff stacks that we have. And then obviously we already have 3 stacks of this because we did 1 on the turn Megumi ulted. And then we did 2 more during Shadow Garden. So we're on the final turn of Shadow Garden, which means, of course, we're going to be doing the nuking here with the ult and Gojo's ult. So I'll just look at the debuffs active currently on the enemy. So as you can see, we do have 1, 2 debuffs active from Megumi. We're going to get the 3rd one right now. And then, of course, we have a debuff active from Iori. And we're about to get another debuff active from Iori in, you know, right now as we debuff him again. And then, of course, we go to the buffs. So Gojo has tons of buffs right now active. You know, he's got buffs from the memories. He's got buffs from, of course, Yaga. You know, you see Yaga's memory buffs here. Everything. All the buffs are active currently. Literally all the buffs from all the characters between Yaga and Iori. So he's going to do giga damage and then obviously his own. So yeah, let's see how much damage we do here. Obviously, the boss isn't broken, and it would be better to kind of showcase it if the boss was broken. But in this situation with this kind of team, it's going to be quite a little bit difficult to actually break unless I do some attacking in between. And it would be, I wouldn't be able to use Pride. I basically would have to use a different memory, you know, maybe non-standard or whatever, so I can do some damage in between and not really have to worry about, you know, stacking without, you know, attacking. Anyways, let's go and see what we can do. What was that? 15 mil? What was that? 15 fucking mil? Yeah. I mean, and keep in mind, I don't have SSR Yaga. If I had SSR Yaga rather than SR Yaga, the damage output would be even more. It would be way more than that. But yeah, that's actually really good. As you can see, Iori coming in clutch. Now, I don't think you were able to kind of see it in this fight that well, but basically the heals are pretty insane. So I was doing it, I was using the same team for floor 40. I know that was a little bit of a tongue twister there, but yeah, for floor 40, I was using this team, and she was healing very consistently and a lot. But yeah, that's the SSR Iori, and yeah, she was cooking. Definitely Giga Chad character. I'm glad I got her. She's definitely going to be helping me in the future. I definitely didn't want to miss her since I did miss Yaga. She is another character who's also very gonna, you know, have that longevity and last a lot longer than a lot of other characters just because of what she's able to provide for your team. Anyways, enough rambling. I appreciate y'all boys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.